Hey y'all, DW Verts again here, Hickbilly Outdoors. I'm going to talk a little bit about some spook fishing. I did a short cast there last week on this, kind of a teasing thing on the old half-ounce Zara Spook. It's what I throw most of the time. I got this box here together just for yesterday, just to take some different things, some colors. I know I own 120, 130 of these things. It's horrible. I just, most of the time I'm throwing this half-ounce. I heard some rattle there. I'm not as huge fan of the rattle, but I've got some because it's probably be ignorant not to have some. They make several sizes. I said the half-ounce is what I'm going to throw the most. That's a little super spook. Kind of a neat size. I've only thrown it a few times. Somewhere in here, look at this. This is the old Zara Puppy. I think that thing's brand new. A Zara Puppy. I've thrown that some and caught bass on it, but I won't say it's a better pond bait. It just does not intrigue me like the half-ounce Zara Spook. All these colors, whatever. I'm not a color person, more of a shade. I can tell you the real clear water, I like that clear spook, the see-through spooks, a lot. But I've also caught them on solid black in real clear water. So what do? Well, there's a good old one right there. Color just don't make enough of a difference to me. The old shoreman is here. Truthfully, over the years, it's funny, I don't even see any in here. Oh, there's one. The old Christmas tree. It's a gray, tan, greenback. They never see it. It's just a kind of an off-white bottom. Over the years, that's probably been as good as it gets. And there was one year I would have bet the farm on that rainbow trout. 1994. That thing took me a long ways. Won me a lot of money. It was a new bait. It was a G finish, gel finish, Walmart special. And there's 3 of them in this box. I'd probably buy more of them. I'd hardly throw it, but that was just the color. Anyway, yesterday I put the old, just plain old chrome. I don't know if you can see how beat up this poor thing is. The old chrome bait, solid chrome, beat up. The way I do these hooks, it really cuts that bait up, which is fine. It's what it's for. Purdy don't catch bass. That's one I threw yesterday. It has upgraded hooks. Now these hooks are actually one size larger than what it comes with, and it does have a tendency to nullify the action a little bit. I remember I went through a bunch of spooks a few years ago and I could not get hooks. Still can't get hooks sometimes. It works okay, it's a little bit overpowering for that bait. So tackle wise, it's not rocket science, and this is not the best rod. Truthfully, I haven't had a good spook rod for a lot of years. I talked about it in the video, the fishing video I did. You need power through this butt. It needs to be pretty tough, but most of these rods don't have enough tip. Now this rod here, if you can see, it's a really fast tip. You see that? This is a 6.6 medium heavy. It's more of a light jig rod or worm rod. It's just too much. I was in a hurry yesterday, that's my excuse. It works the bait decent enough. I caught fish on it. I did some of the tricks, I think, well enough for y'all to see. Truthfully, this is not good editing. I'm not going to edit this out. This is the way it is. I got this rod here with a buzz bait on it right now. This is what I want in a spook rod, but I don't want 7 foot. On a bass boat deck, higher off the water, I can kind of get away with a 7-footer. I still prefer a 6.6 because I do long casts with spook are easy. I do a lot of short casts. Same thing with my square bill crankbaits. The big old long rods don't impress me sometimes. This is the action I'd like to have in a 6.6. Bends halfway through the rod. This is a medium heavy too, but it's got more tip. And you need that tip to work a top water well. It's got to give to the bait. You got to throw a little slack at the bait, and it needs to give. Picture fishing a lure like this on a pool cue. Putting guides in your favorite reel on a pool cue and trying to impart subtle action. Guys, ain't gonna happen. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. So I had a spook rod for years. I don't know what happened to it. It was a 6-foot Apollo graphite. I'm sure it's a composite rod. Man, that thing worked. I was a devil with that thing. The late great Charlie Campbell saw me fish a spook on it and couldn't believe what he was seeing me do, and he's one of the guys I learned from. Anyway, so I'm gonna be talking to Gary Dobbins. I don't know what else is available out there. All my stuff's got old and broken, beat up, and I just am not comfortable with a spook rod. I was blaming it on the spooks or on my stroke-ridden condition, but I'm pretty sure it's just the pole. I throw that thing on 15 to 17 pound monofilament. There's no point throwing anything else. I did throw one on Brady the other day, just experiment with it, and I was kind of surprised that it worked decent on braid. I'm going to continue with my 15 pound Berkeley big game cheap mono. It's worked for me so many years. Old guy has a hard time changing, if that makes any sense. Critical on any bait in the world. I don't care what you throw, on plastic worm to a frickin' spoon, but on topwater baits it's huge critical that these hooks are sharp. I'm talking about sharp. I'm talking about scary. You reach in the bait box, you touch a bait, and it comes out like that. That's all I did, is reach in and touch that bait. See that? Sharp. Okay? There's no point. Look at that. Just touch it and stuck to me. Now I can't get it unstuck. If you're fishing any lure without sharp hooks, you're fooling yourself. But topwater, you'll see I had a few strikes yesterday. They slapped at it. Sometimes they're just not very interested, I guess, but sharp hooks. If that's all you get out of this video thing I'm doing, just sharp hooks. Another thing I did yesterday, it did not work. I was usually too close to the fish, I think, to make it work. When they miss a bait, you have to have a follow-up bait. Now, truthfully, if a bass misses a bait and doesn't get a tug on it, it's probably best to crank in fast and throw that bait right back to him. I didn't yesterday. I dropped my rod and picked up the swim jig. And I actually make my own. That's actually an Omega swim jig of my buddies. We was fishing the other day, and I didn't have anything with me. He grabbed one. It's a real pretty bait. Too pretty for me, but that's a nice bait. It didn't work as a follow-up. The fish weren't that interested, or I was kind of close. One time, I mean, by the time I dropped the rod, picked this up, I was already on top of him. But in shallow water, a small plastic worm works well. A fluke might work well. Just something to throw back at him. He's got his interest. And underwater, maybe he'll get a better. In other words, a spook can be a good bait to look for bass too. Buzzbait, any type of, you're looking for bass, you're searching for them. If they boil, miss it, whatever, it's a good thing to throw something else out if it won't bite the top water. When bass are missing a topwater bait, and I didn't have time in my video yesterday to work this out. I didn't leave myself much room. Generally, one of two or three things. The number one thing for me is when bass are missing the topwater, slapping it, missing it, they're getting too good a look at it. That means you need to speed it up. That's the first thing I try. If they're missing the bait, slapping at it, getting behind it, speed it up. Make them commit. That's about as good a tip as I can tell you. Secondly, would be size. Action and size kind of go hand in hand. There are other walking topwater baits. There's all kinds of modern stuff. This spook thing's gone away. I mean, I'll bet you I'm the only guy on the planet throwing an ugly bone-colored spook because the finish is completely beat off of it. That was one of those G-finish baits. Look at that. Ugly. Beautiful. Lovely. There are other walking style baits, so a different action may help. But I'm talking about, that's when you change sizes. Go that the super spook, maybe bigger, maybe the smaller super spook. Heck, maybe that little puppy. But that's a good thing to do. Or color. Now, again, I'm not a big, huge fan on colors, but if you're missing very many bass, change up. Change color and size. Let the bass tell you. speed up that retrieve. Instead of going slosh, 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 go slosh, 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 slosh. And change your retrieve a little bit. You're going to see some interesting things yesterday. They were all small bass except the very first one. You don't have to wait very long for him. You're going to see. I hope the video comes out. If I have to do this again, I think I'm just going to... Zara Spooks, guys. It's an art. I'm hoping I got the footage showing me walking them left and walking them right. With that rod, it wasn't a very easy thing to do, but I'm pretty sure I muddled my way through it. You can make them go places that other lures don't go and do things bass aren't used to seeing. I love to throw one behind a boat dock, up behind the side of the dock, and then walk it back behind the dock. You won't even see the bait. You can't see it. It gets the dock and you start knocking the dock with it. You'll hear it. It'll knock all the way around. It'll come around the corner, and then you knock it up the side. You just keep knock. When they're on that kind of bite, you'll blow it away. It don't happen a lot. It's a May, October thing. Maybe May, June thing. May and November thing here in Missouri. But knocking it against stuff. Working up to a tree and slap the tree with it. Just like that square bill or a spinnerbait or a buzzbait. Bounce it off of stuff. Now it's going to get hung up some. It's a big old hooks hanging down. But making contact with cover is huge important. And be able to walk that spook. I'd love to have a cameraman with an overhead video of me walking up to a tree, because I used to walking around 3/4 of the tree. About 3/4 of the tree I could go around. So a tree this big, I could bring the bait up, okay, here's the back side, here's me. Throw past, bring the bait up, and walk, get over here on this side, and then walk it around the tree. And I could even make it go back around this side. I have also even made them spin and turn on themselves, get themselves fouled up. That takes the right rod, right attitude, in a non-stroke environment, which that's beyond me. So there you go. That's our second part on Zara Spooks. It shouldn't be that entailed, but like I said in my crankbait video, I used to guide people and take people fishing. Personally, I could sit there and I can, no, yes, maybe, try this, do this, and get immediate results. And on these videos, I don't know if I'm getting that across. Zara Spook, big bass catching foolish thing. It's fun. Not so much in the video I'm going to show y'all from yesterday, but some of them attacked it pretty good. So there you go, guys. I'm Dale Verts. Glad you're not, because it's a weird place to be sometimes. You've been watching Hickbilly Outdoors. Go to ultimatebass.com, the discussion forum. There's more talk on spooks and such. If you have questions, there's a whole lot of people on there that's better fishermen than me. And for that matter, YouTube, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blockett. He has several videos that's out on topwater baits and walking baits. He's old school, kind of like me. He got some pretty good stuff. Go look up Randy's channel and see what you think of that. God bless y'all. Hopefully we'll be back to you pretty soon with something else. Maybe something a little more interesting than this, all right? Take care, guys.